Hey YouTube, this is Jaden Storm coming to Team Shadow Strike, and this is going to be an updated deck. Well, not actually an updated deck profile because I haven't done a deck profile on this in forever. But I guess if I did, this is a deck profile on Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. This deck became so much better with the Winners Collection of Fighters Collection, and I finally got the last bit of things I needed together, which was mainly my G Perfect guards. They finally came in the mail, so so I'm going to get into this deck profile. It's been one I've been wanting to bring you guys for a long time, because Vermillion is where I started when I started playing Narukami, and Vermillion is my favorite Narukami unit. So let's just jump straight into this deck profile. And of course, we have the gorgeous Kai sleeves on the deck, and the Stride deck, and because it is Vermillion. So, for the starting Vanguard, we are playing Lizard Soldier Sishin, and his effect is Forerunner. When another Narukami rides this unit, slide him out. And then his other ability is when an attack hits a Vanguard during a battle that this unit boosted, a Narukami unit, you may counterblast one. If you do, choose one of your opponent's grade 0 rearguards and retire it, and then you put this unit into your soul. So I like him because he can help get rid of the Generation Break starters real early, and to where your opponent will never get to use them. So they are going to either let it die and live without it, or they're going to overguard like crazy. And so this guy is the best starter, in my opinion. And also because he's the classic Vermillion starter. So, and you'll notice a lot of this deck pays homage to my old Vermillion deck. Next, we play 4 copies of Malevolent Djinn. This is the Narukami critical trigger. Whenever this unit is placed on the rearguard, whenever this unit's on rearguard, you may move it to your soul and give +3 anywhere else on the field. Next, we play 4 copies of Spark Edge Draco Kid, which basically looks like a little Vermillion to me. So, 8 crit. Next, we play the original Narukami trigger for Old Dragon Mage for our draw triggers. And we play 4 copies of the original Narukami heal trigger, Demonic Dragon Nymph Sayobo. So I wanted to go as old school as I could on the triggers because I just am so glad I finally have this deck done, because Vermillion is one of my favorite cards. So I went as old school on the triggers as I could. So 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. Grade 1s, we play 4 copies of Dragon Dancer Anastasia. So I finally have my Narukami G Perfects after I don't know how friggin' long, but I'm so glad I finally have these. Basically, whenever this unit is placed on your rearguard, if you have another copy of her in your drop zone, you may countercharge 1. So this deck does counterblast a lot, so you really want these. Next, we play 3 copies of Crown Holder Dragon. Now, this is the only thing about this deck that I don't have, and I need 1 more copy of this, but I didn't think it was worth delaying the deck profile anymore. But Crown Holder Dragon's ability is when your Vanguard with Kaiser in its card name attack hits, choose up to one of your other units, and that unit plus this unit get plus 2,000 power. So this is really, really good whenever we start using our Stride and our Crimson Legion, because we can power up our field by a lot. Next, we play 3 copies of Mighty Bolt Dragoon. This is our Narukami Stride enabler. I do not play Vanquisher in this deck. Some people do, but I don't. So he's only in here as a Stride enabler. Next, we play 3 copies of Eradicator Egghelm Draco Kid. This is our Narukami Limit Eraser, so we can start using our Limit Break Legion skill as quickly as possible. And then I'm playing 1 copy of Wyvern Strike Pilgma. Basically, this guy on the rearguard, Generation Break 1, whenever he attacks, he gets +4, making him an 11k attacker. And he can't attack a rearguard. He is only in here until I get a 4th Crown Holder, so that's why he's in here. But once I get a 4th Crown Holder, this guy is coming out. So Grade 2s. We play 3 copies of Dragonic Death Scythe. This is another old school Narukami card. Whenever this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle or placed on the Rearguard circle, you may counterblast 2, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less Rearguards, and retire it. So, just gives you some more retiring power. Next, we play 3 copies of one of my favorite Narukami cards, and that is Demonic Dragon Berserker Chadara. This unit, while he's on the rear guard, he cannot attack a rear guard, but during your turn, on the rear guard circle, during your turn, this unit gets plus 3,000 power and the ability of, when this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, you may counterblast 1. If you do, draw a card and choose a card from your opponent's drop zone and bind it. So he does present a lot of pressure in the early game, so that's why I like him. Next, we play 3 copies of Voltage Horn Dragon. Obviously, with this deck, you're going to be controlling your opponent's board a lot, and you're going to be attacking the front row a lot. The reason he is in here is because, since I don't play stands, the Vanguard is always going to be attacking first, obviously. Then you can use this to pick off their boosters. And his ability is Generation Break 1. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if this unit is boosted, you may counterblast 1. If you do, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards, retires it, and then binds that card face up. So he is in there for that purpose. And then for the last grade 2 is I play 2 copies of Demonic Dragon Berserker Garuda. This card is another old school Narukami card. Basically, whenever this unit is on the Vanguard or the rear guard circle and his attack hits the opposing Vanguard, you may countercharge 1. So he's in here just to inflict more damage because, like I said, this deck does counterblast a quite fair amount. In fact, all my grade 2s counterblast except him. So, and for grade 3s, we play 4 copies of Dragonic Kaiser Crimson. Now, I know I said I only played 3 in my Vanquisher Kaiser control deck, but that's because that was a hybrid deck. This deck's now completely focused on Kaiser, so we want to play 4 of him. And I play 3 copies of Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. Vermillion. And as you saw, I guess I'll go ahead and say, I do not play Vanquisher. I actually tech 1 copy of Dragonic Kaiser the Blood because I just wanted to play him because I wanted to make this a complete Kaiser deck. So, first off with Crimson's effect, his ability is Legion. He legions with Vermillion, obviously. His ability is, once per turn, you can choose one of your Legion mates' act abilities until the end of the turn. That unit loses its cost until the next time it is played. So, basically, when you're in Legion, you can just say, activate Crimson's effect, and activating Vermillion's Limit Break, and you don't have to counterblast for the effect. And then his other ability is, if you have another unit in your middle column, you may Soul Blast 1, and this unit gains plus 2,000 power. Vermillion skill, obviously. Limit Break. You may counterblast 3, and until the end of the turn, this unit gets plus 2,000 power and battles every unit in your front row. So when you're in Legion, he's 22, and you use his skill to activate his ability, your Legion will be 24, and it attacks the entire front row. So. And then for the 1 copy of Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion the Blood, his ability is Ultimate Break. Counterblast 3, and until the end of the turn, this unit gets plus 5,001 critical, and also the skill of this unit battles all of your opponent's units in the front row in 1 attack. And then if you have a heart card, if you have a card named Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion in your soul, this unit gets plus 2,000 power. So, if for whatever reason I do ride it and I have Vermillion in the soul, he is a, excuse me guys, 13k body. So, the reason I did this is because of the Vermillion Stride. You need a Kaiser Vanguard. This way, no matter what I ride, I can always use that card. So, excuse me, guys. And now for the G Zone. Obviously, we play 4 copies of the new card, Conquering Supreme Dragon, Dragonic Kaiser Warning. So, This guy is OP. His ability is Generation Break 2, so you can't stride into him first. Generation Break 2, Counterblast 1, and G Persona Blast. And if you do, if you have a heart card with Kaiser in its card name, which you always will, until the end of the turn, this unit gets the ability of, this unit battles all of your opponent's units in the front row in one attack. And the other ability of, when this unit attack hits, choose up to 2 of your other units, and those unit gets plus 5,000 power. So what makes this really good is, since he's battling the entire front row, that means there's 3 attacks that are being launched. And for each one of those that hit, you get to select 2 rear guards and hand out 5,000 power. So if all 3 attacks hit, that's 1, 2, 3 hits. So you get to select 2 rear guards and give them plus 5,000 power 3 times. You get to activate that skill 3 times. And it also works really well with our grade 1 crown holder dragon. So that's what makes him absolutely bonkers, because you can push out so much power, and it's really hard for your opponent to deal with if they're not holding on to a couple of perfect guards. So, forewarning, that's a no-brainer. Next, we play 2 copies of Lightning Dragon Knight Zoros. This is our stride that we'll be going into first. His ability is, when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards and retires it. And then you get to choose up to 2 cards from your opponent's bind zone and bind them face up. So he's pretty pressurizing himself because he pops more rear guards. And then for the last grade stride unit is, I play 2 copies of Conquering Supreme Dragon, Conquest Dragon. Eventually your opponent is going to be running out of rear guards, because you're going to be continually attacking their front row, either with this or with your Legion Crimson. And your opponent will either have no rear guards in the front row, or they will have 1. And if they have 1 or none, you can go into him and punish them for not having anything. Keep in mind, Conquest Dragons, in fact, I'll go ahead and read it. You may G Persona Blast. If you do, if the number of face-up cards in your G zone is 2 or more, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. And then if all of your units in the front row gain plus 5,000 power for each of your opponent's rear guards in the front row until end of battle. So even if your opponent doesn't have any units in the front row, you can stride into this, flip a copy of this face up, and your entire front row gains plus 10,000 power. Or if they only have 1, you can stride into this, G Persona Blast, pop that unit, then your entire front row gains plus 10,000 power. If they have an entire front row, you're either going to just stick with him or you're going to go to warning. But you're always going to stride into Zoros first. That way you have access to both your strides, and you'll have 3 goes total. You'll have 1, 2, 3, which just because of this guy right here, that's going to be pushing out a lot of power. So the stride deck for this deck is pretty amazing, actually. So anyway, that is the stride deck. So anyway, guys, that is my updated Kaiser Vermillion Crimson deck. So glad I finally have this done. This is pretty much the only Narcomi decks that I like playing anymore are my Kaiser Crimson deck and my Brawler deck. I don't play Eradicators anymore. Sam picked up Eradicators. And I don't play Vanquisher anymore. All my Vanquisher stuff is in my trade book. Also, it's worth mentioning, if you watched my box openings, and I bought a couple more boxes too, I pulled a lot of Pale Moon stuff. If you're wanting to build Pale Moon, all the stuff is in the trade book. I'll be doing an updated trade binder pretty soon, because there is a lot of stuff that has been added to it since the last time I showed it to you guys. But anyway, guys, this is my Vermillion Crimson deck. So I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up this video for me. Leave me some feedback below, and I will see you guys next time.